April Soto, Tough Girl Bootcamp.
Hi.
Head coach.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you very much. And you know what? Can we pause for a second? I got married, so my last name is different.
Oh.
But you know what? Serge does that all the time.
But isn't your Instagram April Soto?
It's just Coach April. I
Coach
just
April.
don't even go by any last name now.
Oh,
you know?
okay. That's De Nascimento, right?
Yeah, Do Nascimento, yeah.
De Nascimento.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
You got married some years ago, right?
Yeah, it's been it's going on to 3 years in March.
Okay,
So
cool.
yeah, the big 3. Yeah.
It's I've how long have you been here?
You know what?
Training.
I kind of always look back. I don't even know when I started.
Yeah,
I feel
it's been quite a few years. You know,
yeah,
you were just training here, and then I don't even know how it happened, but you're like, hey, if you need any help with the boot camp, and then now you're our head coach and running things, and you do jiu-jitsu, you do bang Muay Thai, blue belt in jiu-jitsu, bang Muay Thai, orange shirt. Like tack fit, you did the tack fit cert.
That was super fun.
Yeah,
I will definitely explore that.
It's amazing, it's super inspiring for me. So I wanted to kind of, I don't know, just talk to you and hang out and just talk about your background. You have a degree in kinesiology, right?
Yeah,
a bachelor's degree.
It's weird how I started at Legacy. I actually wanted to move different. I've been a life mover. I've been moving my whole life, and just exploring new things and having fun and seeing the potential of what my body can do and putting myself to the test and competing and stuff has always been super fun. But I came here to try something different, and jiu-jitsu was something that I wanted to try. And it was just weird because I started there and people knew that I was training, and then little did you know I was starting to teach 2 boot camps, and then it ended up being more, and I fell in love with it. So now we're here, and I'm enjoying this whole process. Jiu-jitsu and big Muay Thai has been a big difference in my life lately. And tack fit has been this new thing that I've been really enjoying a lot. And I just love all the structure behind all of them. And I've been really enjoying the journey this whole time. And like you've told me many times before, just to have fun and do a good job every day. And ever since you've told me that a while back, I was like, you know what? I'm putting all my walls down and I'm just going to have fun and just do my best job every day. So
we can't take ourselves too seriously, right? If we're on a spinning rock, spinning out through the universe, right?
I was spinning. My universe was spinning in many ways. Yeah.
So we can't take ourselves too serious, right? When we really think about it, come on.
Yeah. You know what? And it was now that I'm looking back at it, I was just in a really hard time in my life, And
when you first started?
Yeah, when I first started, even being a trainer, when it came down to movement's always been my safe place where I got to express myself and be creative and learn new things and learning how to be vulnerable, because that's something that I do struggle with on a daily, is asking for help and being vulnerable. And I feel with movement, I've always let myself be vulnerable because I've always wanted help to be better. And just that whole mentality that I've been able to carry on has made me very inspired to keep doing it now that I can do it every day. So
it's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we all love you. We all appreciate you.
Thank you. I'm so happy I can talk to you more now than I could ever talk to you before. I remember I didn't even know how to say hi. I was so nervous, and I get in my head, and sometimes when I don't share why I am the way I am, it's hard for people to understand. And looking back at how I was before and was very more reserved and pretty much just always left boot camp instantly. I didn't really try to make a connection, and it was just me not being able to let my guard down, and jiu-jitsu right now in my life, as I'm trying to get better and I'm actually trying to compete, I've had to let so many walls down and connect with people. Right now, I was telling someone the other day, I have never felt so connected to Legacy as much as I feel right now, because I let people in and I let people get to know me, and I don't have to feel nervous, and I think I've always had a problem.
You can be yourself.
Yeah, to be myself and feeling like I'm enough. That's something that I struggled with a lot growing up. And and respecting, that's something that's been the biggest journey right now as a martial artist. And, respecting the culture, respecting what comes with it, the good, the hard times, everything that comes with it encompasses it all. And I just feel like recently I've been able to connect a lot more than I have before. And it's been a really fun experience so far, letting myself, letting people in and not feeling like I can't trust people, because I've always had really big trust issues with people, So yeah, it's been really cool. It's been really fun lately.
April, where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
So I actually grew up in Burbank.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah. So I've been like a Burbankian for a really long time. I went to George Washington Elementary School. Then I went to Luther, and that's kind of where I started kicking it off, being an athlete. And I went to Burbank High School, so it's like down the street from here. And it's always been like I've always wanted to escape Burbank, and like I've always found my way back.
Yeah.
Now I'm like so happy that I get to work in the same place that
That's
I grew
amazing.
up.
I didn't know
So
that.
yeah, it's been fun to have this community, even like within this gym, having the community here. But Burbank is such a beautiful city, and it's also its community on its own. So yeah, Burbankian for life,
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So you teach cheer, right?
Yeah.
But you done cheerleading. I don't know since how because my girls do it.
They do?
They do drill
I
team.
didn't know that. Oh, yes,
Yeah.
they do the drill team. Yeah, totally.
So it's before cheer, right? It's the precursor to.
Yes, it's like the transition,
The transition.
we'll call it.
And they love it.
Aw, that's so cool. I'll have to watch them perform,
So how did you get started in that?
Cheer, when I love performing. So movement, because I moved forever. If you ask my mom, I've always been dancing. I started with ballet.
Okay.
And dance was my thing because I loved music all the time. And I love performing, and I like being on stage just because I got to practice something. And again, movement and performing gave me that structure that I always wanted.
Made you happy.
Yeah, it made me happy. It made me feel like, you know what, if everything else outside of these walls aren't working for me, then I know that cheer and movement gave me what I needed in my life at that time, And going back, like I wanted to do something more. I love to dance, but I wanted to do cheer. And so going into middle school, I became a cheerleader. And what was great about it was it showed me how to work as a team, It taught me to be dedicated because I had to compete also at a younger age. And it taught me to not give up on myself, because with any sport that you take on, there's work to be involved, and there's commitment, and there's dedication and focus, and, sticking your mind to what you're working on. And I think that's all of that. Like I could say that cheer did save my life. I was just in a really hard time at a really young age, and I had to grow up really fast. I started drinking like when I was 14. So that was after I had done cheer for a couple of years. I was a party animal.
You share with me some dark times of your childhood. And it's been like, that's why you're super inspirational to me.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, you're like a warrior. Like you face your fears and you do it, and that's what it's all about for everybody.
Yeah.
Man or woman, right? Like that's it, like as a human. And so you face those fears, you do jiu-jitsu, like now you're going to compete. You competed before.
Yeah.
But, you do all these things that are, they're hard, right? You have to really face your fears, And one of the things that you shared with me is your childhood, like some of your traumas and things that you're dealing with, right? And you've had to deal with your life.
I feel like, by the way, I've been going to therapy for my own self and my mental health, and I've been working on that. But I feel very great in a place that I'm at right now with my heart. And, I am a survivor of sexual abuse, and it had all this power over me like for a really long time, And,
how old are you?
I was like 11 or 12.
Wow.
Yeah. And, as from now that I look back at it, I was doing what I had to do to take care of myself, and that's when I really care about self-love and self-care and taking care of yourself, because I had to take care of myself, I had a really busy mom and I love her very much, but I had to live life and grow it fast. And again, I think I was just trying to like figure out this void that I had. And I started drinking like when I was 14. And that's when I was already a cheerleader. Like, imagine that pressure of like needing to be a great example and me being in a really dark place. And I didn't really feel like I can turn to anyone. Oh my God. I didn't really feel like I can turn to anyone. And, cheer just kept it all together for me.
Gave you an outlet.
Gave me that outlet to like, I love what I'm doing right now. And if this is going well right now, then I'm happy with that, But I didn't know how to set boundaries. I didn't have a voice. And then, so there are times that I always went back to that dark place as I started to grow up and continue my career, and then wanting to share like my passion, but as a job, it took a toll on me like a lot, I went through some hard times that made me feel like if I'm not even capable of teaching movement every day.
Even though it was your life and you loved, makes you happy.
But money and like things get in the way of that. And I don't like to feel that way because I want to be able to do my job no matter what, And it was just like this journey that I've had to take as I learned to love myself more and get the help and the tools that I need. And cheer was definitely something that, even though I didn't continue it after college, I was able to give back after I graduated high school and stuff, and giving back to middle school kids. Because at that time, when I was going through a hard time, it was when I was in middle school, And then moving on, it got harder.
It was a family member?
It was, it happened more than once in different settings, and it made me not feel comfortable with anyone. Because if I were to go to a party, it was not a good thing. I couldn't trust. And, when you're drinking, you put yourself in a vulnerable place. And it happened more than I wish I would have. No, I mean, no way is ever a good. No, there's never, like, it should never happen to anyone, is what I'm saying, But I wish I had all of these tools that I do now, and I'm happy to share all these tools that I can, including loving yourself, having a voice, speaking up, getting better at that daily, and communicating and sharing your feelings. And for me, it's just trusting, because you got to believe in things that you want to work on. But if you can't trust that process, then it's hard for me to be vulnerable. But I've been growing so much more ever since. So,
how is jiu-jitsu's close contact, right?
Yeah, jiu-jitsu.
Has that helped you?
So much.
You said you did, but I guess how?
Yeah, when I first started jiu-jitsu, when I first came here, I didn't know why I couldn't stick with it, because I would go for like 3 months or 2 months, and then I would stop, and then I would go back and try it again. And I didn't like to start all over again. So I already felt this like, oh, I can't believe I have to start again. And I feel like I was beating myself up that I couldn't keep up. And I saw everyone like waking up, and I'm here like, wipe out, like not being able to progress is because I couldn't stick with it. And later in like my healing process and stuff, I realized, what was really like hard for me was that contact, and then feeling like I was overpowered. And it wasn't supposed to, like, I took it personally, when we're practicing and stuff before. And I had to it took my own time and my own journey to get more comfortable. And now I feel like I'm so connected to all of these people, both girls and guys. I don't even feel uncomfortable. And if I do, let's say ever, I'm at a place where I can set my own boundaries up,
express yourself, tell people how you
in
feel.
A nice way. Like, it doesn't have to come out harsh. I know I've come out harsh on people before, and it's just me working on me, So jiu-jitsu has been great.
You did the TACFIT certification, right? This last weekend. How was that experience?
TACFIT, I think I'm just very honored that it's here at Legacy, and I was talking to Rob, TACFIT leader, about certain things that we do in TACFIT, and then going into the cert and figuring out the system and everything that comes with it. I started to fall in love with it, you know. I told him, I was like, I've been leg driving my whole life, you know, as a cheerleader, like pushing off. I was a flyer, so I had to squeeze my body. So I had to make myself hollow and, you know, make sure my legs were always locked. And just the fact that tack fit cares so much about technique and the way that you move through it.
And if you don't have that structure, right, you're going to crumble. If
oh my
getting
gosh.
picked up and run around.
It goes so well with jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Now it's like, as I'm training to compete soon, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do tack fit for my conditioning because you know what? It places you in the same positions literally as you would do it in a competition. And so I love making all these connections.
Your breath awareness, right, as well.
Yeah. You know what? Of all things of tack fit, I think the hardest thing for me is the breathing. I mean, we saw my bloody nose.
Yeah.
So
that's one of the things too. Like at the cert, you got a bloody nose, and you didn't hesitate. You grabbed a piece of paper, and you stuffed it up like a fighter. Yeah, like a fighter would do.
You know what? And when in cheer, both when I coached and when I was an athlete, you got to keep going. Yeah, you know, you cannot stop. The show has to go on. You do what you got to do. Get back up there and go back. Like, you know, so I kind of like put myself back into that mode of being an athlete. And I was like, no one's going to care what's going on here. You got to like suck it up and go. So, yeah.
What other sports did you play? You did cheer mainly? So
I competed in track and field also. But like before then I was exploring. So I did softball.
Okay.
I did basketball. You would see me like hula hooping outside. I'm all dancing like in front of my TV to like MTV music videos. You know, like I was just moving all over, but I didn't have a focus, you know? But when I got into middle school, it was cheer. But then I loved doing track and field because it was more individualized rather than team. And just having those two different ways of competing like were really fun. And so I kept that up. I did it in middle school. I did both. And then in high school, I competed in both cheerleading and in track. But, you know, sometimes I'm like, dang, like, why did I do so much? You know, after lunchtime, like, you know how lunch is like at 12 or something? Yeah. After lunchtime, it was all movement for me. I had cheer 5th period, and then I had track and field 6th period. So after lunch for me, it was like, yeah, I just get to have fun and, you know, finished all my work and was able to like focus on both of those sports. It was cool is I didn't fall behind on either of them. And like now that I'm doing jiu-jitsu and Bang Muay Thai, I love doing both. I think they both complement each other. And I'm just glad that I get to do something different, but have the same focus as I did when I was a cheerleader and a track competitor. It's just now it's jiu-jitsu and Bang Muay Thai. And tack fit and movement and exercising is my conditioning. Right?
It's precision.
Because I got to get stronger to play my sports.
And even your technique or your body, right, can break down with fatigue and overtraining, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So it helps you reset it.
And I realized, like, you know, we could be good at sports, but you can only get better. Like if you're doing like weight training and you're getting your body strong. So I try to encompass all of it. I think I use all of them for like different reasons. For Bang Muay Thai, it's just working on both stances. You know, I love doing my right side as much as my left side when working. Isn't it awesome?
Yeah, as you switch it up for your brain, right?
Yeah.
Your body. For everything, right?
It's like it throws you off. Anytime Coach Annie calls, you know, all right, do it in southpaw.
Like I don't want to do it in southpaw, but you know, you got to do it, right? So
you do. It's a good challenge. You know what? The challenge is what's like, you know what? I'm gonna get this. You know, I'm gonna get this. So. So that's a stress reliever and working in both stances. Because you know what? When I was in track, I was a hurdler. But then my legs weren't long enough because I'm not the tallest person. So I had to take 4 steps in between each hurdle. And then when you have to take 4 steps, I had to learn how to switch my feet when I was competing. So I liked doing both things. So Bang Muay Thai was like, I get to practice both. Like, this is so dope. And it's a really good stress reliever. Just punch it out in class, you know, but taking care of your partner at the same time.
Yeah, I love it, right? Because you get the skill set, I think, without having to get like black eyes and get beat up, and you can if you want, right?
Yeah.
But you totally. I feel like you totally learn the spatial awareness
and
the movements, right? Just by drilling. I think in jiu-jitsu
sure.
too, that's a huge, right? Of getting the skills that you need to win and to do good, to learn.
You know what? Lately,
That's what it's all about.
learning is like, it's endless for real, especially movement. There's like a million kajillion ways that you can move. And it's, pick what you want, pick what you can focus on, and then get better at it. Sometimes spreading ourselves too thin is a little hard, but if you can focus and get good at your skills and work through that journey, because it's not easy to develop skills. You have to take time, dedication, focus, commit more. And then competing for me is the ultimate. I like to put myself to the test. I've always been a competitor, so.
Why do you think that? What has it given you?
I feel like it shows me to love the whole entire journey. It's given me, I think when I was young, growing up and competing, it gave me validation. That's what I was going on. Yeah, it was partly like validation of like, can I do it? Am I capable? And like putting myself to that test. But right now, I really love the whole journey that comes behind it. So drilling and planning, having lots of plans to figure out how you can get there. I think we all have to have goals.
Finding solutions, right?
Finding goals. And I think just this process, besides game day or like the actual competition or the actual tech for certification, which I'm really excited about doing in a couple of weeks again, it's the whole journey behind it, the struggle.
The struggle.
Yeah.
That's where it's at, right?
Definitely.
So you got through your, through high school, middle school, high school, a lot of tough years, right?
Yeah. It was weird because...
Yeah. And you were just, go ahead and finish, but just you were saying how like cheerleading and the cheer really, and movement, right? Yeah. Saved you.
Also like being able to be a coach, I was very anti-bully at this time in life.
During high school?
Well, like in general, when I coach.
Oh, and when you coach now, I see.
I was like anti-bully. You do not bully people, like especially in a middle school, everyone's transitioning in their life. And I took that really seriously because when I was young, first off, I was not a good example. I was drinking all the time. I was partying and trying to still be that top cheerleader. Like, I remember how it hurt me to not be able to progress because I felt like, or I was bullied in high school for multiple things. And one of them, which is kind of crazy, is because of the color of my skin. Isn't that crazy? That's crazy. And you know what? So then you can
be criticized for being too dark, or being too light, right?
Right. And then so I made mistakes though too. In high school, I made mistakes, so they didn't help with anything. But I was set as a bad example at some point. I know like they weren't telling me directly, but I knew, and it took a toll on me, and I'm just glad I'm able to be different and show people or show myself more like that that I'm more than anything of those bad feelings that I ever felt. And I always try to look more on the positive side of things and just believe in myself, because then all of that comes with self-doubt, like not being worthy and not being capable and feeling like I have to stay in a bad place. Like, no, I don't. I can work on myself and just work through all my
where do you think that strength comes from to have to be brave and your courage? Because I've watched you now for I don't know how many years, just kind of tackle all these things, which takes a lot of guts and courage to do.
I will honestly say that just movement has really helped me get there, like focusing, like for example, in cheer, you're forced to believe that you can do it, In cheer, you're not forced, but it's stuck in your brain to always work hard, always be better. If you feel like you got it, you don't got it. You still got to go more. And I think just that since I started that at a really young age of, we could be good, but we could always be more. We could always be better. There's always ways of improving. We don't just have that. And I think having that mentality towards anything that you want to stick in, like in your life, you can propel if you really want. But
Sounds like you had some really good cheer coaches.
you know what? I love my cheer coaches. I thought they were very inspiring. But you know what? Even my PE teachers were inspiring to me. My track and field coach was really hard on me. And I thank him very much for that. He was really hard on me. And he was hard because he cared. He cared and he wanted to see me get better. And I think he would see me slip out of the routines and the structure. And I thank him for pulling me back in all the time. And same for my cheer coach in high school. I would get bad grades. I was actually really not good in school. I was not. I couldn't focus in that way. I was a visual learner. So I struggled in school, and I think I had a attention problem. And I think my coaches always saw the best in me.
You couldn't sit still. You wanted to move.
Oh my gosh. I had to move all the time.
So to actually sit down in class.
Yeah. And you know what? Now that I
that.
sit more at my desk, now I sit a little bit more. I'm like, oh my gosh, 30 minutes. Let's go. I can do this for an hour. And it's hard to sit for a really long time, but yeah.
So after high school, you went to, was it always Cal State?
Cal State Northridge.
Yeah. So, and was it, you knew that you wanted to go into some kind of movement, kinesiology kind of a thing?
Yeah, you know what? When I was my last year in high school, I got injured. So I was a cheerleader and I broke my elbow. And then, so when you break your elbow as an athlete who competes and loves moving and being told that I can't move anymore, for now, you're just going to have to take a 3-month break. I was like, 3 months, this is crazy. And the rehabilitation behind that was not enough. I wish I would have had more rehabilitation.
What did you break? What part of your arm?
I broke the end of the radial ulnar bone right on the side. It just plopped off. I was doing a round off back tuck, and so it's no hands. And when you psych yourself out, you don't do as well when you perform. So when I was up there, I was tucking in like this, and I psyched myself out thinking that I couldn't do it. So then halfway through, I stick my arm out, and then, it breaks. I'm out of cheer.
So you stuck your arm out and posted on it.
Yeah. I stuck my arm out, and and I was wanting to come back, it's just dislocated. I'm going to come back. And, the recovery was a lot longer.
What did you do for rehab? What did they have you do?
They made me do physical therapy. I did end up going to physical therapy, but at the time we didn't have a lot of money. So it was 2 or 3 and then do it at home, girl. So I had my little stretcher at home and, trying to get more range. They actually told me I wasn't going to be able to keep my arm straight at 180 degrees. But I was able to, just because on my own, because I loved movement, I was like, I'm going to do my job. I need to do what I have to do to make sure that I can get better again. And I think ever since then, I was like, I want to help people move better. That's where it started to move. And after cheer and track, I'm like, well, what am I going to do? I'm off in this desert and I'm totally lost. What am I going to do here? And I started going to the Burbank Athletic Club, and I started taking kickboxing cardio classes just to
After high school?
Yeah, after high school. But then I wanted to be a trainer because I wanted to help people move better. And then so I started studying way before I even started school. And then when I went to school, I started just supplementing with each other. Things that I was learning in school, I got to apply directly when I went to the gym and started training that night. And just learning, now I learn about the body, right? Going into kinesiology and the exercise science and the physiology behind it and knowing your anatomy, and the more deeper understanding of movement just blew my mind away, because not only did I love movement and obsess with learning new ways to challenge my body, but now I got to learn on a deeper cellular level how it all works. And it gave me more patience.
We think it works, right?
Oh, yeah. How we think it works. I think science is just endless. So
right.
it's just...
We think it works. We think it is.
Yeah. It's just, science is crazy. It evolves. And what I'm realizing right now, especially with TACFIT, is I got to evolve, You get taught certain ways of training. And yes, those tools are awesome. But after taking the TAC Fit certification, they were like, but remember what your goal is. And that's when you determine like what exercises to use, and so the exercises that I've ever learned and movements that I have, I'm like, cool. I mean, those are tools in my toolbox, but what are the goals for each one? So I can really choose what I bring into like my boot camp and what I bring to like my clients. And TAC Fit is really showing me like I need to evolve, so I got to keep growing and just move with it, So, yeah.
So I think I guess you were training while you were before you graduated, right? You've been coming to Legacy,
like jiu-jitsu and stuff.
Yeah. I think you came in before, right? And it's been like at least 5-6 years, right?
Yeah, I think it is 5 or 6 years.
Yeah. Wow. So, and you finished college. And then you became a coach, and now as a coach, you're a head coach, Tough Girl Bootcamp head coach.
Yeah.
Running the program. Yeah. Representing at the TAC Fit cert, doing your pull-ups.
Oh, yeah. Right in front of the banner.
Right? You had it all planned out, huh?
Bootcamp shirt. No. I feel like that's the cheer thing in me. I wore my uniform every day.
Yeah.
I wore my jacket every day. I represent where I'm from, and it just translates well. I feel like I'm in the same spot again. So,
and So I guess what's your goal with being a trainer for the girls? Because it's a group class, right?
Yeah.
You have your personal clients, right?
Yeah, I have my personal clients too.
And then so what's your goal with Tough Girl Bootcamp, and what do you think about as a trainer, as a coach?
It is
movement and all the things you said like saved your life. It's like it's been your happy place.
Yeah.
So what do you think about when people come in to train Tough Girl Bootcamp?
Yeah,
what would you like to give them?
I always try to put myself in their shoes of like also me not knowing what I was doing when I first started. I had no idea. So I know that all of these girls coming in are putting themselves in a very vulnerable position where they do want help and they do want to reach goals and they do want to get stronger. And I think right now at this point, it's just my duty to give them as many tools as I can to help them progress and evolve and appreciate movement as much as I do, without only focusing on body image and stuff, but really just focusing on how you feel and the journey behind that. Because I think teaching them to be consistent and to learn how to stick with stuff is something like I literally can relate 100%. I know how it's like to not stick with stuff and not be able to. I know what it's like to start all over again. I know what it's like to stay committed and see your own progress in your journey because you stick with it. Like, this is what happens when you evolve. And I just want that for them because I know it gave me such a big outlet to express, to be a part of something. I think right now, I love to have these girls feel like they're a part of something. Because when you feel that, it's drawn in and you feel super connected. So it's more than just the movement. It's the little community that I'm creating with these girls and creating that safe space for them with a little empowerment too with their workouts every day. So
yeah, I see that. And your personal training clients, what do you I guess it's the same thing?
Yeah, with my
you get
private clients, I like it right now. It's a good mixture. I love teaching boot camps, and I teach 14 boot camps every week. Every day, Monday through Friday,
early
6
morning,
a.m.
6 a.m.
Professor Joey's up there, like always.
It used to be
positive.
just Professor Joey. Now it's Coach April. Professor Joey.
Yeah. It's so cool. Me and him actually developed a really great relationship. Like when I see him, and it's just really a really great way to wake up and to take care of my girls every day. I'm just like, I love it. I just love it. So.
Have you always been an early morning?
No.
Really?
I always tell my girls is like, I would never train anyone, me work out before 9 o'clock. Like, no.
So what changed that?
The drive to give my program what it needed. My program needed an early morning. It was being asked, and I wanted more. I love Tough Girl Bootcamp and what it means. It means to be a tough girl, which means committing and sticking with it and Being able to do that every day for them, Monday through. It started Monday and Wednesday.
You love the tough girls that much, huh? You're like, I'm going to get up at 6 a.m. I'm going to do whatever it takes to give them everything I got.
Yeah. For me, the job needs to get done with what I have to do every day. And it's a great way to start. Their energy is like real. That 6 a.m, I'm so close to them. I see them every day. And just teaching them the journey behind it. You know, right now I'm really teaching them to stick with stuff. Stick with it. We have a consistency challenge going on. 6 weeks. Commit to the number of days you said you were going to do. And they're seeing these benefits of it. And it's like all girls or all a person needs sometimes in their movement is structure and a routine. And I'm glad that I get to be a part of that morning routine because I know a morning routine is really important, you know, but I like training in the middle of the day. I give myself some time. So still not a morning.
That was only
workout.
it started with the boot camp, the Tough Girl Bootcamp, the 6 a.m.s.
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah,
respect.
I would never wake up that early. But I do it because
you care.
I care, and I will get my gaps are normally in the middle of the day, which is it works out great with like my clients and like my private clients because they're at work during those times, so I get to train and just be a part of that every day. And to connect with people is like my word of the year is connection. My word of the year is that. And I had a boot camper challenge me and she asked me, you know, what's going to be your word of the year? And I was like, oh, shoot. Okay, I got to think of my word. And so I started thinking about it because I'm very goal-based, goal-oriented. And I wanted to figure out what was I having a really hard time with because I'm trying to figure out all my weaknesses and then get better at them, you know? And so for a long time, connection has been really hard because it requires you to be vulnerable, right? And I think I'm able to do that way more now when I train daily for jiu-jitsu or being Muay Thai. Like, I would have never seen this like 3 years ago. I feel like it's been a really cool journey.
Why should a female do jiu-jitsu?
What?
Why should a woman, girl, a female do jiu-jitsu?
You know what? I love to answer this question because I encourage my boot campers to try jiu-jitsu, and it is my duty
We've had some self-defense classes that you've organized.
Yeah, and we're getting ready to do. Me and Coach Felina also want to do more, and I just tell people from my own prison experience so that they can feel it. It is my duty to take care of myself, and that requires me to take care of myself physically. You know, although I want to teach self-defense, and that's the direction that I'm encouraging. It's also having a voice and creating boundaries. And I know as a woman, it's very hard to do that. It's really hard to say how you feel. It's really hard to feel very close to people. But you know what? The thing that I've learned most is what you're having a really hard time with is probably something that you should focus on. You know, because
the challenge is the obstacle is the way, right?
Yeah. And going into jiu-jitsu every day is a great obstacle.
Facing your fears, yeah.
Yeah, I literally face my fears every day that I go in. And teaching them that jiu-jitsu or being in a class is a safe place to practice. No one's going to be there to threaten, you know. That's, for me and my own personal experience, it was me that I needed to work on, you know. And being able to defend yourself as a woman, I mean, it's crazy out there. The world is crazy. So I walk out of jiu-jitsu or being Muay Thai and I feel so much more confident in myself. You know, I may not be that big, but no one's going to like walk and like think like, dang, she knows jiu-jitsu and she knows being Muay Thai. Like I'm always like with a smile and like no one knows what I can do.
What about with stressful situations? Do you think it helps you?
Oh yeah.
Just dealing with things?
I feel like being Muay Thai, I relieve the stress. But with jiu-jitsu, I really learned how to be calm under pressure. That's like mind-blowing to me. There is no way that I can focus if my mind is scattered. I can focus if I just remain calm and breathe and not give up. Not give up at all. So I love doing that every day right now. It's been such a great experience, especially learning from everyone in class. Everyone's just there to help. It's such a welcoming environment. And the program is growing. The women's program is growing. Coach Erica and Coach Felina are like blowing it up. And I think all of us working together right now and me talking about it in boot camp, it's just been such a great thing for all of us to really see girls being open to like, okay, just try it. There's no commitment. Just get in there, see how you feel, reflect, try it again, you know, and then let yourself just, you know, put your foot in the water for the women's only. And then if a person wants to expand more, then that's another sign of growth when you can, because I only did the women's program before. Strictly women. I only want to roll with women.
Jiu-jitsu.
Or I only want to do women's stuff. But now,
what changed that? Why did you choose? Why did you like? You know what? I'm gonna mix it up.
Mix it.
Yeah.
Letting myself feel comfortable. You know, is it hard for me to be comfortable around guys? Yeah. So this is a place
where does that come from? Do you think? Going back to that again, you know, where does that courage? Where does that come from? Because you keep doing it. I mean, like I tell you about the hyper-oppressive, you know, certification. Yeah,
totally.
And you're like, okay, let's go, let's do it, let's try. TAC fit. Okay, let's try, let's do it. I mean, something that we've been talking about for quite a while, right?
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu, bang Muay Thai.
I feel like sticking.
Where does it come from, though? Where do you think it comes from? That strength.
I just, you know, when I had a really hard time surviving, I'm gonna call it. I felt like Muay Thai, cheer, all of these things right now really give me that same feeling of like, you know what? No, you're gonna get better and you're gonna push through all of it. And for me, I've always found that light. I've always found the best of in things, and
in movement.
In movement, I found the best of it. You know, if I'm not good at it, I'm gonna get better at it. So don't give up. I'm gonna get better at it. Don't give up. And
I just feel like there's a lot of courage, you know, in all the things that you display. For me, that I see.
Thanks.
That's why one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you, because I find it really fascinating and interesting for me. Yeah, so I'm curious, like, where does that courage come from for you to face like your fears? Because it's life, right? Everything is like, hey, you know, this is hard.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like, oh, it's too hard. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to even try. But you try every time.
I feel like
that I see.
I feel like
so where does that courage, where does that come from? I'm curious.
I think it comes from I felt like I was never enough before, you know. I don't think I believed in myself, and I had to be my own cheerleader growing up. I was my own mom, I was my own dad. I had to take care of myself, and I always wanted the best for myself. But I didn't want all of these external factors affect me and what I wanted to do.
Defining you.
You know, like if I want something, I'm going to do it and I'm going to get better at it and I'm not going to give up because that's what I want.
Did you have some role models growing up? Even on, maybe not even your life, maybe even on TV, in a book?
Just
curious. Some books that you read or something you watched that really influenced you?
Right now, my current influencer is Kaiza Fit. She's super awesome, but even growing up though, I think my role model was watching TV. I think I was really into dancing. Aaliyah, rest in peace. Her song was Dust Yourself Off and Try Again. So I got really into it when I loved her music. I loved her passion for music. And I think that's why I even bring all the music that I love, I try to play it at boot camp. Because for me, music gave me that connection. And then so Aaliyah was a big influence for me before, you know, she had passed. And her song stuck with me. Like, dust yourself off and try again. Don't give up. Get back up. And I think my biggest inspirations are my coaches all the way down the line. From when I was doing like dance, ballet, and I was doing folklorico, like dancing. I always had those mentors. I had those coaches to give me all those tools. So all of the coaches and PE teachers, all of those movement coaches to me were so much more than I think they even knew. I don't think they knew how much they did for me until now that I look back, I'm like, wow, they gave me a hard time because they cared. You know, they always wanted more, and then they believed in me. And then so I believed in myself because I believed that they believed, you know. And I think my coaches all around the board. Any coach that I
difference.
had, any bit of advice, anything made that difference for me. And yeah, I think that's what gave me the strength, is people believed in me, and people who I made myself vulnerable to them. All my coaches, I was full vulnerability. And after a certain point, it got hard because then I was in survival mode. I didn't want to open up to no one. And then so now being here, being able to open up to you more now, and Coach Andy and all of these coaches, like, I'm feeling that amazing feeling again that I appreciate, and I get to have these role models in my life, you know, so.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't take it for granted, you know. I know as a teacher how much, you know, it's responsibility, right? But
yeah, it's a duty.
Guess, you know, the power we have, right? To make the difference, right, in people's lives. For them to make it or not, or for them to be their best or not.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, so I try to give my best every single day, and I don't take it for granted.
For sure.
Yeah, I try to give everybody my time and do my best. So, yeah.
You know what's crazy is that, like, I'm not coaching cheer anymore, and it was competitive cheerleading, so I really worked hard on their skills, and year round.
I remember watching you post a lot of videos.
Yeah, I was like obsessed, and I still am, you know, but they would give me cards like at the end of the school year. So like thank you cards, and I mean,
and I'm sure you paid they paid you a lot of money, right, for all that time.
All that time. You know, that's when you know you're doing it because you love it.
Right.
You know, it didn't matter what I was making.
Right.
I love the experience. I love the experience of being a coach and being a role model for my girls. And they would cry. I would have to coach them through crying. They had a hard day at school. I had to coach them through it. There was bullying going on. I had to settle it. I had injuries. I had to deal with it. And being a problem solver for them and being a role model for them, I remember when I would look at their card, like at the end when they would do their banquets, and then they would give me a big card with like all their signatures. And some of them inspired me a lot. And one of them that stuck with me was like, I'll never forget you as my first coach. That just like blew my mind, to be someone's first coach. I remember my first coach. So you'll never forget those people that really changed you, and to be able to like be a part of people's journeys when they're first starting, it's going to stick with them. And I hope it does. So it's really fun. It's been a really fun adventure coaching now, not in cheer, but now to my girls every day, and anyone that I could help, I'm like totally down for it. So
what advice would you give yourself, a younger April? April Nascimento now.
April started it. What advice would I give myself? Just to believe in yourself, you know? If you really want something, you focus on it, girl. Anything you want, you focus on that, you're gonna gravitate towards that. It may not feel like the right place and the right time, but you do it because you want to do stuff, and just stick with it. I think that's what I would have done, because when I was in other places in my life, my focus was off what I wanted to do. What I wanted to do is what I'm doing every day now, is being an athlete and then training people. And then so just refocusing myself, not let yourself. Yeah, I'm in such a happy place right now. It's like I'm enjoying the journey with it. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for opening your heart to me, and like letting me open up my heart to you, because I know it's been like a roller coaster since we first started, and I'm just so grateful. I'm really grateful.
So I'm grateful, and so we are all grateful to you. So thank you for everything. How can Tough Girl Bootcamp, right?
Yeah, so at Tough Girl Bootcamp.
And at April, Coach April?
Yeah, at coach.april.
April,
or like
okay.
at Tough Girl Bootcamp.
On Instagram.
Yeah. I'm like, that's all I'm doing. I just want to keep spreading the word and being able to help more women. I know the struggle, and I want to bring my experience. I want to bring my experience to them as much as they can. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me. Yeah.